May 15th, 2015. That's the day the SLR story begins. It was my last day at the Jinnah Global Law School in Sonipat, Haryana. I had decided to move to Delhi, but I had no idea what I was going to do next. I had a bunch of students who actually looked up to me, a bunch of students with whom I had built a very strong bond. So I actually wanted to do something that would add meaning to their lives, that would make them look up to me, that would inspire them. Egged on by them, the idea for SLR was born. I was working with the Government of India at the time. I did a UGC e-Pathshala project, of course as a freelancer. And that project gave me an idea. If I could not be in a classroom teaching law students, why not build a classroom of my own? Right? I didn't have the money to go start a law school, but what I did do was start an online law school. And that's how SLR was born. I spoke to one of my students. His name was Mohit Yadav. And Mohit has played a key role in the development of SLR. He was basically the tech guy at law school. And he gave me the number of one Akash Mehta and said, talk to him, he's a web developer and he'll help you get off the ground. When I first spoke to Akash, little did I know that that would be the start of a lifelong relationship. And I see myself working with Akash for many, many years to come. So Akash and I got to work. Akash was just 19 years old, right? I was his first client and he said, I want to grow with you. And I said, that's great, let's grow together. He helped me build my website from scratch. All of this started on June 15th, 2015, and we set ourselves a deadline of August 15th, 2015 to launch Sudhir Law Review. All right, so then I started talking to my dad. We came up with a business plan, right? We made projections. Let me tell you, 5 years later, none of those projections have been met. But that's the nature of business. That's the nature of entrepreneurship, right? Then I spoke to my grandfather, who's been a source of moral support, financial support, right, in my life, right? He egged me on and said, you can do it. I believe in you. So all of this tells you that you need the support of people around you. You need to build a good team. It's relationships, it's people that matter. Don't cultivate contacts, cultivate people. That's my advice. That's been my big learning from SLR. So back to June 2015, we set ourselves a deadline, 2 months to go, and we got to work. I had to record some subjects. So I settled on the Code of Civil Procedure and I settled on Constitutional Law and the Law of Taxation. Why did I settle on these 3 subjects? This was because the students that I had taught at Jindal were studying these subjects in the next semester. I knew that if SLR had to take off, I needed the support of my students at Jindal. And boy, did I get it. For those 2 months, I would use them as a sounding board. They would give me feedback. They would support me. They would pick me up when I fell down. I built a very close bond with these students, something you could say that a professor shouldn't do, right? Now that's your opinion. That could be someone else's opinion. Someone might say, no, it's good if professors and students are together. Let me tell you, at the end of the day, the line between professor and student is a very thin one. You need to have a bit of a line so that the process of learning, right, is expedited. Or should I say the process of learning is facilitated, basically. But if that line becomes too thick, too long, right, there's too much of a distance between you and the student, that process of learning is actually hampered. It's hindered. That has been another big learning of mine in my years in academia. Now coming back to the launch of SLR. On August 15, 2015, I got together with my students at a farmhouse in rural Haryana, of all places, right? You wouldn't believe it, but I woke up on the morning of August 10th, which was a Monday, and I did not sleep till SLR went live on Saturday, August 15th. I literally did not sleep for 5 or 6 days. And if you looked at my website at the time, you looked at the courses I recorded, you'd say, really, sir, this is it? This is it? This took you so much work, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes into building a website. So if you're thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, you're thinking of starting something of your own, right? It looks very easy from the outside, but let me tell you, it is bloody hard. Now the website launched on August 15 to much fanfare. I flew down to Bangalore to be with my family on that day. I handed out t-shirts, I handed out mugs, right? It was a fabulous, fabulous day. Then a couple of months go by, all right? SLR is slowly taking off. Students from Jindal start subscribing. I'm happy, things are going well. Then suddenly there's a dip in subscription numbers. I realized that I can't build this business only on the back of my popularity, if you will, in Jindal. So I started advertising on Locktopus, on some other websites. But then again, I burnt my fingers because I did not have the content. All right, so I was getting traffic to the site, but students were saying, so where is this course? Where is that course? All I had was 25 hours of content on the site at that time. Okay, so I realized that I have to add more content. But then something else had happened. I had run out of money. And when all of this was happening, I got an offer from IFIM Law College to become their dean. And that was too good an opportunity for me to pass up. This is something else I learned about myself, that I'm somebody who has trouble committing to things for a long period of time. That's been another big learning of mine for these last 5 years. So I did the inexplicable. I walked away from SLR for almost a year. My experience as Dean of IFIM Law College was so rewarding. I am still in touch with the students from there, much like I'm in touch with the students from Jindal. Right? Another very rewarding, enriching experience. So why did I quit? Well, that old bogey again. I've always struggled to operate within hierarchical structures. I've always struggled with authority. There I was the establishment, but I still had to answer to a higher authority. And there was a little bit of friction, though I left on very good terms. But that's when I realized that I can't be an employer. Should I say an employee? I'd love to be an employer, right? But I can't be an employee. I don't have the temperament that it takes to be an employee. That's when I realized that, you know what, I think I'm probably better off being a businessman or entrepreneur running my own business. But even then, I didn't have the courage to go back to SLR. I didn't have the courage to start spending money, take a loan or take an overdraft facility and add more content. So what did I do? I went back to something familiar. I went back to England. I tried to make it as a barrister. All right. So I got so many wonderful interviews. I was able to crack it. I was so proud of myself, for lack of a better word, that after so many years away from England, I could still compete with 500, 600 people and make it to a short list of 5 or 10. But alas, that didn't work out either. All right. So then what do? I came back to India and then I put my mind to it. Right. One of my students, Anjali, she said to me, "Sir, SLR is your baby, right? You need to grow it." And that's when I realized that I have to put all my time, effort, and resources into growing SLR. June 2017, in Mumbai, I started on a journey that would culminate in SLR becoming the largest online repository of legal materials on the web, basically. Right? I today have 200 hours of content, and these 200 hours of content have been possible because of one man and the key role that he played, and that's Atul Tamankar. Atul Tamankar is my video guy, as I like to call him. We worked together, we worked hard, our frequencies matched, we were on the same wavelength, right? We would record 2-3 hours of content every day. We would work hard and he would give me, right, what I wanted, right? So that's another learning that I've had from SLR. Work with people who work like you. Work with people. If you consider yourself a professional, ensure that the people you work with meet those same high professional standards. Today, SLR has, to be precise, 207 hours of content. It couldn't have been possible without Atul Tamankar based in Pune. So I made the move from Mumbai to Pune. I recorded all of my lectures there. I stayed with my dad who's based in Pune, and he's been a huge source of support and strength for me through all of these years. So SLR crossed the 200-hour mark last year in 2019, and then the subscriber numbers started to pick up. I started to make money from SLR, and I'm happy to report that today, August 15th, 2020, SLR is a profitable venture. Is SLR India's biggest online law school? That was my dream, remember? It's not. Well, is it? It's not. I don't know. It's about the metrics. If I have the most subscribers, am I the biggest online law school? Or if I have the most content, am I the biggest online law school? As far as subscribers are concerned, I know that sites like LawSeco, now Loctopus, etc., they are doing better than me. That's because they're run by two wonderful businessmen who know what they're doing. As far as content is concerned, nobody comes close to Sudhir Law Review. As far as quality of content, you, the subscriber, you, the lawyer, the law student, or the judiciary aspirant has to be the judge of that. But in terms of sheer quantity of content, right, SLR is miles ahead of the competition. All right. Earlier this year, I got married, and that brings a lot of changes in your life, right? When you settle down, as they say. So I had a lot of plans for SLR. I wanted to launch SLR Academy, where I would launch judiciary courses. I wanted to launch SLR Org Access, where I would have institutional memberships, where I would go and sell memberships to SLR or subscriptions to SLR to law schools and law colleges that they could then pass over to their students. None of that has come to fruition in the last 12 months because once I got married, the coronavirus hit. We are currently still in lockdown. I mean, technically, we're no longer in lockdown, but I can tell you that I am certainly locked down. So a lot of my plans have had to be put on hold, much like is the case for other businesses. The future today seems uncertain. All right. I wouldn't say it's bleak, but it's uncertain, right? We are living in a new world, right? And the lockdown for me initially was fantastic. The subscriber numbers were higher than they've ever been. But now the lockdown has got to me as well. So I had to do something. I had to innovate. Again, 5 years after, I had to innovate with SLR. So I started Wakalat Nama. And I see Wakalat Nama being the future of SLR. Those of you who follow Facebook, who follow me on Instagram, right, who follow me on YouTube and LinkedIn and what have you, right, you've seen my videos on Wakalat Nama. The videos have got a good feedback. And what Wakalat Nama allows me to do now is to pivot, right, into building Wakalat Nama and turning SLR, right, into a media brand. If SLR was my baby, right, Wakalat Nama is my second child. SLR will always be my first child. Wakalat Nama is my second child, where I get to reach a wider audience, right, and get to educate and inform. You know, yesterday my wife told me, Abhishek, you have to treat SLR like a business. I don't know if I have it in me to treat it like a business. I love SLR too much, right? And I believe I'm in the business of educating and informing. That is also a business. But it's to really make money, she's absolutely right. You have to treat it like a business. The next 5 years will tell if I'm able to do that and truly make SLR into India's biggest online law school. Whether I'm successful or not, none of this would have been possible without your support. Thank you so much. Today, August 15th, 2020, SLR turns 5. I couldn't have done it without you. Happy Independence Day. Jai Hind.